direction. You see it says record top left.
Yeah.
It's recording. If you want to pause, press that. This is a bit that's going to be connected to your car to your caravan. Stabiliser hitch, if you're aware of what these are, what they do. Yeah.
Stop your jackknifing, don't they?
Well, not really. All it does is slow down the movement. So you got the pitching. So as you go over bumps, whatever, the caravan can start doing that in the car, or side to side. What it does, it works off friction off the toe ball. So the toe ball needs to be grease free and needs to be paint free as well. So I'm assuming it being a new year, he's probably still got the paint on, has it?
Yeah.
So I'll take the paint off after. Because if you don't, you'll end up with the pads, which are like, you imagine like little bits of sandpaper kind of thing, but
yeah.
gets that paint in it, it'll obviously it's not quite, but nearly equivalent of all of it. It's not going to do its job. Okay, breakaway cable. Okay, that's there. If your caravan obviously attached correctly, if the car and the caravan become unattached, obviously if you haven't had it put it on correctly, then what it will do, it will pull the handbrake on the caravan. Okay, and then it's called a breakaway cable because what it does then, it breaks away from the car, so it actually breaks away from the caravan as such, and then the car and the caravan become separate and stay separate unless you start reversing towards the caravan, obviously. Okay, handbrake. You see that it's a push down, and it is assisted up, so you'll need to just start it and it'll pop up. Jockey wheel, so that's there, so you can, have you actually set a caravan up, as in on pitch or anything like that? No. So you can use a jockey wheel, obviously once it's, obviously you need it off, down when you take it off the caravan, or off the car, the caravan off the car, or when you're manoeuvring it around, and also you can use it to lift the nose up and down when you're leveling it.
Yeah.
Which I'll explain that shortly. This here, you've got a 13 pin plug, hopefully you've got a socket, this 13 pin, otherwise you need an adapter. What you've also got, which works in alongside this, is your ATC. Okay, what that is a trailer control system that it detects movement. So have you heard of snaking?
Yeah.
So it starts, obviously, the tail starts wagging on the caravan. What it will do is slowly apply the brakes on the caravan. So it works off the electrics off your car. It'll just apply the brakes very slowly for a period of about 5, 6, 7 seconds, then release them again. So if you imagine the car at an angle, slows the caravan down and the car just pulls it straight. Okay, this is an indicator light there that will indicate the test. So when you plug it into your car, you'll hear it manually test, so you hear it going, making the noise. So that's testing the brakes. An indicator light will come on to say what test has taken place or if it's completed. So solid green, that's okay, ready to go.
Yeah.
Flashing green means it hasn't quite completed its test. Normally from driving from here to the gate around about 100 yards, it will go solid, it'll complete the test. If it goes red, then obviously problem. You can unplug the electrics, give it a few seconds and plug it back in, see if it will reset. If not, then obviously you've still got a problem. You may need to get someone to come out and check it out. You just check to see if the caravan will move. If the caravan will move, obviously the brakes haven't been deployed, because that's obviously what the system does. If it moves and the red light's still on, you can still tow with it, but obviously the system won't be working. The other one is if it's a red light flashing, that means, again, obviously problem, you can try and reconnect, disconnect on the electrics, see if it will reset. If not, again, try and move the caravan. The likelihood it has applied the brakes. So obviously if it will move, then obviously the brakes haven't been applied. If obviously they have, they're not going to be moving. Okay? There is a connector bar which goes from the unit to the brakes. If you're quite handy with spanners, you can get underneath and take that off. It will release the brakes. But otherwise you're going to wait for an engineer to come and do it. Okay? Right, gas locker. Obviously, I've got my gas connected at the moment, obviously to show you everything up and running. And also the pigtail. So you're going to need a pigtail to operate whatever gas you're going to be operating on. So depending on which gas you're going to use. That regulator which is on the wall there, that obviously is, if you've obviously been camping before, normally you're camping, dog taking the woman for a walk. If you had operated gas before camping, normally the regulator is attached to the bottle. This, obviously now at this certain age, you get a regulator attached to the caravan, all you need is a pigtail to attach to your cylinder.
Yeah.
So depending on which one you have, obviously propane is probably the better one, because you can use that all year round. Butane is more of a summer gas. Okay?
That's fine.
And this is butane.
That's propane.
That's
Colour coded. Yeah.
So blue is butane. So you can use either gas on that regulator, you just need a different pigtail to fit whatever gas you're using. Okay, happy with that?
Thanks.
Good. Right, down this side.
What's this one?
Sorry? Oh, that's the clamp for your jockey wheel. I'll show you that when we connect to the car. I can show you obviously how that operates. Obviously I don't want to unlock it now because it will just drop on the floor. Okay. Right, so first thing you do when you get to site is obviously you're going going to get the caravan on your pitch. Once you're on the pitch, just see if the caravan is level, side to side. Okay? You have got a motor mover, but sometimes it's better to leave it attached to the car to level it side to side. Because what you're going to need is a ramp or something to lift the one side that's lower. Okay, so the best thing is the car, because it's obviously got more power to move it up and down that ramp if need be. So once you've got it level, then you can obviously disconnect the car. So obviously first handbrake on, disconnect the car, obviously wind it off the car, then obviously move the car out of the way. Next thing you need to do is level it front to back. Okay, so using the winder handle on the jockey wheel, you can wind the nose up or down. Again, you probably need a spirit level to level it sideways and front to back. Obviously you can get it as close as you can. The need to level it is all to do, one, with the drainage. Obviously your sink, if your sink plug holes that end and you're leaning that way, obviously it's just going to stay in your sink, it's not going to go down the drain. So make sure that's the one reason it needs to be level. Also the fridge doesn't like working on gas if it's on an angle.
Is there a spirit level at the front to check, or
No.
you have to put it in?
You'd have to purchase one, yeah. You can get these little ones about this big.
I know.
I tend to put it just through the door. It depends, as long as you've got a flat surface, you could put it just inside the locker there, if you haven't got too much clutter in there stopping you doing that, which a lot of people. Your pipe, okay, to disconnect it, just pull back on the trigger, that disconnects it. The pump is actually on board, so this is just a pipe that draws the water up. If you make sure you straighten that pipe out, because it can curl up and start drawing water, or well, drawing air out the top of the apple instead of water. To put it in, you just clicks in like that. Okay. This is your vent for your boiler, and that is the cover. Obviously, I've taken it off. If you want to operate on gas, that needs to be off. So this is your vent for your boiler. If you operate on electric, you obviously don't need to take the cover off. If you fail to take the cover off, all it will do is fail the operation of switching the water heater on. Okay. I've got my battery and the electric connected here. So obviously you need a battery. I don't know if you've got a battery or not.
Yeah, got one on part of the pack.
Oh, you got the pack. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, see that there's a bag. Obviously, always make sure that battery is in the bag. Do not put it in there, otherwise, because if it leaks, obviously that's what the bag's there for. Okay. 240 connection. Always connect to your caravan first, then unravel your cable and connect to your bollard. Don't do it the other way around. If you do it to the bollard first, you'll kind of live cable across possibly wet grass. Okay, and also in that position down there is your key point for your motor mover, which I'll show you that afterwards.
Right.
Okay. Down here, wastewater outlet. So your sinks all drain out to there. Okay, so you've got a sink in your bathroom and your shower and your kitchen sink, which all drain to there. So obviously you need a waste master. I assume that's going to be in your pack. And then what we've got here is your toilet flush reservoir. So normally you get a pink chemical, and you top it up with water.
Are these all on a master key system, is it?
Yeah, I'll just get the keys. So it's just an opening to obviously to top your tank up through there. So that's your flush tank, and this is your waste tank. Okay, to get the waste tank out, what you do is open up, just lift up this orange lever here, and that will release it. If you've left the wastegate open on your toilet, it won't come out, or it'll be struggling, and don't force it because you may damage something. So the best thing to do, if you think that's what's happening, just push it back in, go inside, make sure it is closed, and then you should slide out easy. Okay, you've got a handle, it's got wheels, obviously that's it. Ease of going to empty it.
Yes.
When you go to empty it, obviously you need to, before you empty it, you're going to need to obviously fill it. Before you use it, you need to put a blue chemical in there and roughly a pint to litre of water. That's to help start break down the nasty stuff. This is the lid here. When you go to empty it, obviously you need to take that off to obviously tip it out. Normally it'll have a funnel, if you've been on a campsite. Normally there's a big white funnel with a big hole in it. Obviously that's where it's going to go down, and there's a brick wall around it. Do not put that on the brick wall. If you go and knock that down that hole, you're not going to stick your hand down there, and the warden's not going to be too happy because you probably just blocked his sewer system up. Okay, you can access drain for your flush tank. Obviously in winter, make sure you are draining that. The best thing to do is flush it out using the flush system or the flush button. Flush it into your tank or another container if you want to keep it and use it again. Just drain the last little bit by pulling that plug out and drain the last little bit through that. The reason why you best to flush it through using your flush system is that's a bit of storage space in there. Be very careful what you put in there because obviously it's behind the axle. So any too much weight behind an axle, obviously the caravan's not balanced correctly. That's large light stuff, multi-light stuff, like bedding and things like that. When you're on site, you can put anything you want in there. And obviously when you're travelling, you need to have well balanced. So
But
if you
with
start
this
putting,
having an island bed, you'd leave it made up anyway.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, but some people have, you've got a bedding for the front bed,
Yeah,
some things
yeah.
like that. But yeah, just be careful what you're doing when you're travelling. Make sure you balance it out. Because again, obviously be very careful. Always make sure you're checking that regularly. I will check them before you leave. Just try to think if they're on the. You can see on the plating it's a bit faint. 130 newton meters. Okay. So it says alloy 130 meters. It does say steel as well, but make sure you're doing the alloy setting. If you have got a torque spanner, check your wheel nuts regularly. I tend to check them before I go away each time.
Yeah.
Okay, as I said, I will check them before you leave. Okay. So it has also got your tyre pressure. Obviously, your tyre pressure is very important as well. Make sure you're doing that.
And it's got the remote.
It's got a motor mover as well. Yeah, I'll show you that after you.
Oh, right.
Okay. Because obviously we can't move it when everything's all set up at the moment. So you got electric point. So if you want to connect anything electrical into your awning.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, and you've also got a gas barbecue
Yes,
pump as well.
Not reliable to me using that.
You don't fancy having a barbecue out in
Not a gas one, no.
don't you?
No, you don't have a proper
Alright.
one.
Yeah.
This there, obviously if you want it. Okay, and then also you have access to that one there. Just get a bit noisy out of it. Obviously there's not a lot of room in there to put much stuff, but
Oh, you can access.
Still
Is that
obviously
access from the inside? as
yeah,
well?
yeah. So you know there's access there. If you see that there, there's gas drop vents, so obviously don't
Right.
block them up. There are a
Yeah.
few numerous ones around the van.
Yep.
Obviously if you have a gas leak, it always goes to the lowest,
Lowest point,
If you
yeah.
block that, obviously it will hold the gas inside.
Are there sensors in the...
Right. You can hear the radio going. I couldn't hear it then because of that noise. Okay, I'll just
Oh, goodness.
I'll just mute that for now because it gets a bit distracting for me when I'm explaining stuff.
No, I didn't know. No, I didn't realise it.
Right, so just above our heads is your control panel. I might just shut the door so I might just shut the noise out a little bit. Right, control panel. Okay, that's your 12 volt system. So you need to switch your 12 volt systems on. If you can just see everything is actually on at the moment. The actual control panel is actually asleep. I can press any button, just lights it up. So normally, when you get into the van, the first thing you do is, so it's off now, press that on, that's your 12 volts on. So you always need to have that on when you're using your van. Okay, even when you've got 240 connected, you always need to switch that on. Okay, what's it's also telling you there is your leisure battery and what that condition is. So I press view levels, I'll see that again. So 14 volts is actually going through the charger at the moment. That's why it's showing 14 volts. Normally it's around about 12 and a half. Obviously a decent charge battery. 240 connected, leisure battery is connected. That is your water pump, but don't switch it on straight away when you get in, especially if you've drained the tank before, or your water system. Okay, you could connect the battery off the vehicle. So if your vehicle has been left connected, you could run it off that battery if you wanted to. It's going back to the quite a few years ago, 20, 30 years ago, when they used to obviously didn't have the technology they got now and used to have the battery operating off the car, which obviously wasn't a good idea, especially in the 70s when batteries weren't that brilliant anyway. And you end up with a flat battery on the car. Okay, so the likelihood 99.9% of the time you're going to operate off your leisure battery, which is in that locker outside. Okay, so the next thing to do, you happy with that? Yeah. So the next thing to do is get the water system up and running. So just underneath here is your tank. You can see that. A bit difficult to see from this angle. So that's your hot water tank in the corner. Okay, if you can see from this angle, there's a yellow lever switch. You see that? You see that on the floor down there?
I shan't be going to that one.
No.
No.
So that is your drain for your water system. So you need, obviously, if you're going to drain it, it needs to be in upright position, and you need to open the taps to centre, and that will allow the air to drain out and the water to be dumped on the ground outside. Obviously, that definitely make sure you're doing that for winter. For obviously when you need to use it, that lever needs to be in that position, so it allows the water to run around the system. Okay. So make sure you close that first. The next
So
thing,
it's all right to drive with that as it is now.
you could drive with it. Obviously, again, it depends on what other weights you've got on. That tank full is an extra 10 kilo of weight. So
you
it's
would
up to you.
normally
I
empty it
normally drain it. I normally drain it when I'm
before you
just
leave
before.
aside.
Yeah, I always do that. The other good thing about doing that is that when you're travelling, that movement helps the water to come
So
out. Especially,
tomorrow we will have to drain that before we go home.
yeah, it's always best to. Best thing to do is not to drain it obviously onto the pitch that you're actually on, because obviously the next person's not going to be too happy if you just flooded
Where
it.
do you?
What I tend to do, I get it out to the gate of the site normally, wherever I'm stopping.
Well, we're just up here on the
Yeah, so I normally get to the gate. But if you're here,